I'm just gonna do it from here since there's so much. How do I make it big? Where's that? There we go. I'm really smart. Okay, so do you recognize this building?
I do.
Yeah.
How about this one?
I do.
This one?
That one is mine.
This one too?
Doing that
So,
one.
oh, and this one?
I do not recognize.
You don't recognize that one? Oh,
Is that the
okay.
president's house?
No, that's actually, so that's down where they do the online
Oh, okay.
building. So these are all buildings that are left over from SMA. Today I'll be talking about Stanton Military Academy, also known as SMA, and if we should remember them or talk about them more on campus, and VWIL's involvement, and if we should continue the legacy. So it was founded in 1904 by William H. Cable. It was originally called Stanton Male Academy and shifted to more of a military citadel format in 1888. And in 1890, these three men took over control of the school due to the financial difficulties of the Cable family. So originally the Cable family, it started with 50 students. They all lived in, the students lived above the Cable family in the first building. And that would be this one, the like big house in the middle. And the family lived below, so they kind of just all did that. And that is one of the first classes on the bottom. That attended their kind of uniforms, and when they started to shift more towards the military school. In 1804, they had Thomas H. Russell, who became the headmaster. He attended the Citadel and looked for more expansion. So he built new barracks on campus. He made it more Citadel styled and wanted to have much more of a prep for senior military academies, so that there would be boys ready to go into things like the Citadel, VMI, and anything in that kind of like realm. But then everything that he had like built from where he started burnt down in November, and so they had to completely restart. So that chalk outline in the photo is where one of the barracks used to be. Before it burnt down. They had a lot of fires and a lot of financial mishaps throughout the years. So then in March of 1905, there's the reopening where they built the more, the very strict barracks, something you'd see more at VMI, the Citadel. And because this was supposed to be a prep school for these kind of foundations, they were ROTC, but all of this decreased by 1974. And this happened a lot because as the years went on, there was a lot less families going towards the need for their sons to go to finishing schools. It kind of fell out of popularity, and the Vietnam War really pushed a lot of the need for military schools out, and the people wanting to attend military schools because of the entire Vietnam movement. So in the pictures, you can see the barracks that are very similar to what you'd see at senior military colleges, and then that's them forming up in the old barracks. And that's something you still see if you go to VMI today. So you can see throughout the years, their rise and fall of their students attending, and you can see right at the end, the complete drop off of the attendees. So during the time that cadets would attend, they would have drill, regular school, but on the weekends they would still have inspections, and on Sundays they would be allowed to leave for church. And in these photos you can see them in their uniforms, kind of just at the pool hall that was on campus, what the dorms look like. Online it said that was what Cable looked like inside. So I don't know if you've been inside Cable at all, it does not look like that anymore. And then them at their library studying. So similarities to VWIL. So we continue the tradition of Howie's drill team, which is the armed rifle team that they had originally. And so you can see the bust that we still have on campus of Howie himself. So that's the armed drill. Our uniforms, we continued a lot of the similarities. So our class A's were the tunics, which is what we're wearing in the photo, are almost complete replicas of what they had. We still carry their colors, so we have their flag in all of our color guard and stuff like that. And then we live in their Cable dorm, which is they called it the hotel. It was the nicest dorms on campus. There's a pool in the bottom. There was a shooting range on the roof, which both have been abandoned. They're not torn down, they're still there. You just can't get to them. And I want to figure out how. And then at the end of the year, for sophomores going into juniors, there's a huge ceremony where SMA alum come and they hand off their sabers to our juniors. And we didn't get to have it last year because of COVID, but it's a really cool ceremony where you get to have their saber that they carried up until their senior year. And it has their inscribed, their number, and kind of like stuff like that. And you can actually find like old SMA ones that have been like left over years in like thrift stores, why can't I words, and stuff like that. One of my friends, when she lived in Hawaii, they actually found one. So, yeah, so we like carry them around. They're super crazy. But should MBU and V will continue the SMA legacy? And through my research and everything that I've seen about SMA, I think we should still talk about them. But there was a big issue with their lack of diversity in their core, because it was mainly it was all straight white men. But during the time that the academy ran, you can see where this is like why it happened and why there wasn't diversity. Women weren't in the 70s and the 1800s wouldn't be attending military academies, and there wouldn't be as much acceptance of people of color. But I think VWIL has done a really good job allowing more diversity into something like this and continuing the legacy of having something like a military academy and respecting it. Then there's my works cited, and then I took some of the history from our Knoll books, which are the yellow books that we carry around on campus freshman year, and the museum on campus.
Wonderful.